Strange but true stories. Tales from the light side, the dark side, and the other side. I'm Steve White. We love our pets. Whether you're a dog person or a cat person, or enjoy the company of your iguana, we dote on our animals, spending lots of time, money, and energy on their happiness because they deliver so much joy to us. We are always trying to look out for their well-being, and when something happens to them, we feel a deep pain inside, just like it was a family member. Animals are intuitive and can communicate with us in their own special way. In the following stories, these animals went through an unexplainable, otherworldly experience. We only wish they could actually speak to us about what happened. Instead, we only have their owner's perspective. My dog teleported outside. It was a quiet night at home for my then-girlfriend and me. Noodles were boiling on the stove for a nice little pasta dinner for the two of us, when I thought I would fix a little extra for our German Shepherd. She is and always has been a chill dog who loves noodles. My girlfriend and I had been playing with her throughout the evening, and she was flat worn out. Some pasta would perk her up. We had a lovely dinner, and our dog ate every bit of her noodles like we knew she would. Before sitting down to watch television, I locked all our doors, including the sliding glass doors, and made sure the windows were all closed. We settled in for some Netflix, and our dog came over and sat at our feet, as she typically did. We had just started watching the movie we had selected for the night when I heard barking outside. But not just any dog barking. It was our dog barking. What the? I got up from the couch and looked outside the sliding glass doors, and there she was, with this look on her face I had never seen before. But she definitely wanted back inside, quickly. I opened the door and she came right in, though I could tell she was afraid and angry, and a little standoffish of us. She was wary of us and wouldn't really come near us for about an hour. She's always been an intuitive dog, and something had freaked her out. I have never wanted a dog to talk so much as I did that night. I mean, she was communicating with her actions and the scared look on her face, but I wanted to know all the details of what and how it had happened. I couldn't wrap my head around how she got outside. Like I said, before we settled in, I checked the doors and windows to make sure they were closed and locked. Neither I nor my girlfriend got up to let her out. We never felt or heard her get up from her place at our feet. We never finished the movie that night. My girlfriend and I talked about what happened for the next few hours. To this day, we still wonder how our sweet German Shepherd got outside. My dog and a time glitch. My family and I live in a multi-story house. On the ground floor of our house, we have a whitish carpet. It's not quite white and yet not quite beige, somewhere in between. In any case, if something dark gets on the rug, you can see it really well. There's a sliding glass door that leads to the concrete patio and the backyard. Our backyard is completely fenced in. Several months ago, I noticed peculiar stains on the carpet, and when I took a closer look, I could see several blue paw prints, as if our dog had tracked in some blue dye from outside into the basement. There was a print just inside the door, and then another one leading away from the door that was a little faded, and then finally a very faded but still distinguishable print a little further on still. It appeared that it had just been one paw that she had stepped in and then trotted in the house. The ink was like that from an ink pad or a marker. So I went to examine her paws. All four were clean, no hint of any blue dye present. I thought that was a little weird. I went out to the backyard to see if I could locate the blue ink that she possibly stepped in. I searched the backyard extensively and couldn't locate anything that could have caused the paw prints on my carpet in the house. Again, weird, but I let it go. I got the rug cleaning stuff out, removed the 3 prints from the rug, and moved on to a few projects around the house, forgetting about the bizarre prints for the rest of the day. A week or so later, I bought a tie-dye activity to do with my kids. With the 100% chance of making a mess, we decided to do this in our backyard. I covered the patio table with a plastic garbage bag before we began, and we used several bottles of dye to decorate some shirts. The sky darkened, and before we knew it, a thunderstorm was right on top of us. We hurried to clean up and get inside quickly. However, I left the garbage bag on the table along with some of the supplies. The wind began to blow and a big gust lifted the bag off the table, spilling a bottle of dye all over the patio. Our dog hadn't come inside immediately, but when I saw her standing outside the door, I went to let her in. When I got to the door, I noticed she was standing in a pool of blue dye. I let her in, and sure enough, she left 3 paw prints on the white carpet, each a little fainter, moving away from the door in the same 3 spots I had cleaned up the week prior. Coincidence? How could it be? I know I cleaned up those paw prints. As I went to get the carpet cleaning supplies again, I could not figure out what kind of crazy happening this was. There is no possible way. I was in my bathroom getting ready to go out for dinner. The bathroom connects to my bedroom, and I always leave my bathroom door open when I'm getting ready. My black lab was sleeping on my bed. I could hear her breathing deeply, and I walked past her several times on the way from the bathroom to my bedroom closet. I gave her little scratches on her head as I walked past. I finished getting ready, turned off the light in the bathroom, and looked at my dog sleeping on the bed. Now, I always close my bedroom doors because if I don't, the dogs will get into our trash cans. So I said, "Come on," and she picked her head up, but didn't get up right away. I said again, "Let's go, come on." She got up off the bed and jumped down and began to follow me out. I walked out of the room, and she followed about 5 feet behind me. Now, outside my bedroom, there are stairs about 4 feet from the door that lead down. I turned to take my first step down the stairs and froze. At the bottom of the stairs, there was my dog, sleeping on the landing. I turned my head back down the hallway towards my bedroom, and my dog wasn't there. So in a span of seconds, I'm supposed to believe she jumped off the bed, which I witnessed, to me getting to the top of the stairs, running down about 20 steps without me hearing it, and then falling asleep again? I stood there for the longest time trying to figure out a logical explanation of what had just happened. I'm still searching for answers many months later. No, I swear I left him outside. I tried to forget about this incident because the whole thing made me feel like I was going crazy. But then I heard of other people experiencing something similar, so I decided to share my story. A few years ago, at the end of summer, I joined my mom and my brother at my grandparents' house to help them plant potatoes one Sunday afternoon. My dad decided to go play golf instead. My grandparents had a small garden where they grew potatoes and other vegetables. My mom drove over there in her car, and we had been there for a while, and I needed to go back home to pick something up. So I borrowed Mom's car, promising to return as soon as I could. We only lived about 10 minutes away. When I got home, my dog was inside, laying down. He was almost 14 at the time, so not as active as he used to be, but in pretty good shape for an old dog. I grabbed what I needed and started to head for the door when I decided my dog needed to go outside and get some fresh air. We have an underground fence, so I let him out, locked the back door, and left again. I am 100% sure that I left him outside, and I'm even more sure of this because I turned around and looked back at him standing in the yard as I pulled out of the driveway. He was there as happy as he could be. I drove back to my grandparents' house, and we were there for a few more hours. After spending the afternoon with him and getting all the potatoes in the ground and doing a few other things around the house, we went back home. When we pulled up, I started looking for my dog, expecting him to come running up to greet us, but I didn't see him. I thought that maybe he was in another part of the yard, but I couldn't find him. My brother went in the house, and I heard him say, "He's up here!" My dog came bounding down the stairs. I thought, that's weird. I know I left him outside. I looked for my dad, thinking maybe he had finished playing golf and had come home and let the dog back in the house, but my dad wasn't there. Less than a half hour later, he returned home and I asked him how he played and then asked him whether he had come home after playing only to leave again. He said no, he had played golf and then hung out with his friends at the club after he was finished. Now, I was really freaked. No one else lived in the house. I know I left my dog outside. Somehow, he got back inside. All the doors were locked when we got home, just like they had been when I left. The garage door was closed. We don't have a basement or any place he could have gone through to get into the house. Plus, he was a fairly large dog. It's not like he can squeeze into small spaces anyway. And I'm pretty certain he didn't have a key secreted away somewhere that only he knew about and unlocked the door himself. There were no signs of a break-in, and what kind of thief would take the time to let the dog back in the house anyway? I tried to think of every possibility, and it just didn't make sense. I explained the whole thing to my family to see if they could figure out a reasonable explanation, and they just kept asking me, "Are you sure you left him outside?" Not really taking me seriously. I know I had, but now I felt crazy. Did my dog teleport or walk through some portal? I would love to hear what others say about it. I still can't explain this. I live in a 2-story house in Indiana with my mom. This house was built back in the 1850s, and this event happened to me in the summer of 2012, and the entire state of Indiana was in the middle of a hot and extremely dry summer. On this particular night, a big thunderstorm rolled in. I remembered thinking about how great it was that it was raining since it had been so dry. I always enjoyed watching storms, seeing the lightning flashes and hearing the roll of thunder and the patter of rain outside. It was about midnight, and I'm just sitting in my upstairs bedroom watching and listening. All of a sudden, there's this really bright flash of lightning. It lit up the entire room, and it scared me pretty good. Darkness fell on the room nearly as quickly. That's when I heard a man's voice from downstairs yell, "Hey, what are you doing?" Now that's really strange because, again, the only people in the house at the time were me and my mom. What was some strange man doing in our house? My dog had been sleeping on the bed behind me. He jumped up, started barking, and then took off down the stairs, growling and barking the whole way. I got up to follow him, and as I got to the doorway, I heard what sounded like my dog hit the floor and yelp like he'd been hurt. I took off down the stairs as fast as I could to find nothing. No dog, no man, and the lights were all off. I searched the entire downstairs, opening closets, looking under furniture, searching every nook and cranny, even places that I know my dog couldn't even fit in. At that point, I thought somebody had killed my dog. But the front door was still closed, locked, and deadbolted. There wasn't a back door. I suppose they didn't put back doors in houses built in the 1850s. I was more than a little freaked, so I went back upstairs to wake up my mom and tell her what had just happened. We searched the house, top to bottom, at least twice, but could not find the dog. Now, it's not a huge house by any stretch, but still, neither of us could locate him. By this point, it's 1:30 in the morning, and the storm had moved on, but I'm still freaking out because I can't find my dog. And I still don't know who that strange man was that was yelling earlier. Exasperated, but still determined, I kept looking. I walked into our living room, and my dog just walked out from around a corner where there were no windows or doors, panting like he had just sprinted several miles, but no signs of any physical damage. I searched that whole house 3 times, again, looking in places where he couldn't even fit. He was a playful dog, but he wasn't one to intentionally hide from us. He always came when we called him. I still have no explanation for it. Did my dog teleport or step into some time glitch only to return a short time later? I was left searching for any possible explanation, but thankfully, he never disappeared like that ever again. This has been another Strange But True Stories. Do you have a strange occurrence you would like to share with us? Send it to strangebutTrueStories2@gmail.com. Now, we don't use every story that gets sent to us, but we do read through all of them as quickly as we can. Let us know what you thought of this story in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and sign up for notifications so you know the exact moment another SBT video drops to the channel. Thanks for watching. I'm Steve White. Until next time.